Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to flip the script a little bit. We're going to take you from being a content consumer, just endlessly scrolling, to becoming a full-blown AI-powered creator. All right, so here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to talk about AI as your new creative partner. Then we'll peek under the hood, see how it actually hears and sees the world. After that, we're diving into the art of the prompt. Super important. Then we'll get into building with AI blocks and wrap things up with how to create, test, and share what you've made. So, first things first, let's totally reframe how we think about AI. Okay? It's not some, mysterious force out there. Nope. Think of it as a brand new, super powerful tool in your creative toolkit, just waiting for you to tell it what to do.
I mean, just think about that for a second. That cool idea you have for a short film, or that little melody you've been humming, AI actually makes it possible to bring those things to life. It's like a bridge, right? It takes what's in your imagination and turns it directly into something real, a finished product, and you don't need any specialized, expensive software to do it.
Okay, so if we're going to direct this thing effectively, we first have to get a handle on how it, perceives the world. Because it doesn't hear or see like we do, not even close. Instead, it translates everything, and I mean everything, into data it can crunch. We'll start with the basics, sound and sight. So check this out. When an AI hears something like music or your voice, it's not processing sound waves like our ears do. No, it sees the sound. It sees it as this thing called a spectrogram. It's literally a picture of the sound, and it maps out all its properties visually so the computer has something to actually analyze. And how does it do that? Well, this is where it gets really cool. There's this mathematical tool called the Fourier transform, and it basically acts like a prism, but for sound. You know how a prism splits light into colors? This splits a complex sound, say a whole orchestra, into all the simple individual waves it's made of. And that deconstruction? That's the secret sauce. That's how the AI learns to understand and then eventually recreate sound. All right, what about visuals? Well, a lot of models use something called a diffusion process. So picture an old TV screen, just full of static. The AI is trained to start with that pure random noise, and then, little by little, step by step, it removes the noise to reveal a clear picture that matches what you asked for in your prompt. And for video, it's the same idea. It just does this for a whole bunch of frames, one after another, to create a moving picture out of what was just static. Pretty wild, right? Okay, so we know how the AI sees and hears. The next logical step is to figure out how we talk to it, right? If AI is going to be our creative partner, we have to learn its language. And that language, my friends, is the prompt. Just take a look at this. This is a perfect example of how a detailed prompt is basically a director's brief for an AI musician. You're not just saying, hey, give me some Indian music. No way. This prompt specifies the exact length, the genre, the instruments. It even lays out the emotional journey of the piece, from solemn to hopeful. That level of detail is the key. It's how you get precision and the exact result you're imagining. And what's great is that this whole creative direction thing breaks down into a really clear, logical formula, a recipe you can use every single time. First, you start with the purpose. What's this audio for? Background for a video? Then you define the genre and instruments. Next, you tell it the emotion you're going for. And finally, you map out the structure, how you want the music to evolve from start to finish. And guess what? This same kind of structured thinking works perfectly for video, too. There's a great little framework called the CLEAR formula. You give it C for context, the who, what, where. L is for length. E is for examples or style, like, say, in the style of a grainy black and white newsreel. A is for audience, which helps set the tone. And finally, R is for your role, where you get to be the director and call out things like camera moves. See, it's pretty much the same logic as the music prompt, just with different creative dials to turn. Okay, this is getting good. You can now direct an AI to make music and video. So what's next? Well, now that you have that power, you can start assembling these creations, these AI-generated blocks, into something even bigger, something like, say, your very own simple web app. Now, the secret to making your app talk to an AI is something called an API. I know, that stands for Application Programming Interface, and it sounds super technical and complicated. But don't worry, the absolute best way to think about it is ordering a pizza. Let's stick with this pizza analogy, because it works perfectly. So, your app's front end, the buttons and text boxes the user actually sees and clicks on, that's your menu. The huge, powerful AI model working behind the scenes, that's the kitchen. Your specific request, all formatted for the AI to understand, that's your order. And the API? Well, the API is the delivery person. It's the one who takes your order to the kitchen and brings back that delicious, finished product right to your app. So, that waiting time? The time between when you place your order and when the pizza actually arrives at your door? In the tech world, that's called latency. It's that little delay. And a well-built app handles this by showing the user a message, like working or generating. It's just a polite way of saying, hey, the kitchen's busy with your order, hang tight. So you can combine all these ideas. You can use basic web stuff like HTML to build the structure, CSS to make it look good, and JavaScript to make the buttons actually do something. And they're like Legos. You can piece them together to build a genuinely useful tool. Imagine an app, let's call it Study Hub AI, that helps a student organize notes, summarize articles, or plan projects. Each one of those features, it's just a different order you're sending to that AI kitchen. All right, we've covered a lot. You basically have the blueprint now to create almost anything you can imagine. But that brings us to the final, and honestly, the most important step, doing all of this responsibly and ethically. Because, with great power comes great responsibility. So as you start building and creating, it is absolutely crucial to keep this ethical checklist in mind. Think of these as the rules of the road. Always be transparent. Label your stuff as AI generated. Be respectful of people and cultures. Don't go copying famous songs or voices without getting permission first. That's a big one. Protect people's privacy. Don't share personal data without consent. And a really simple one to follow. Just avoid making anything violent or unsafe. This is your guide to being a good citizen in this wild new creative world. So there you have it. We've walked through the whole shebang, right? From how AI even sees and hears our world, to directing it with super specific prompts, all the way to putting it all together into a real product. We've taken the mystery out of going from prompt to product. So really, the only question left is, what are you going to create first?